Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another RGB RPG's DM Prep Guide. Today we're going to be taking a look at Session 10 of our Descent into Avernus campaign, and as always, there's going to be a lot of spoilers ahead, so if you are a player or plan on being a player in Descent into Avernus, go ahead and click away. But if you're a DM who wants to see how another DM might prep for this session, or for this game session by session, go ahead and stick around and check out this series. So, we have a lot going on this session. Last session, or the last couple sessions, the party infiltrated the Van Thamper Villa, made their way through the entire place, and eventually found their way down into the cellar, into the basement dungeon area. Freed a couple prisoners, discovered a couple rituals happening. One very unsuccessful ritual on the part of the cultists, but it all culminated in them finally confronting the Lamra Van Thamper, and that's where we left off last time. So, the fight with the Lamra is how we're going to start off our session, and then we have a whole lot of other deeply important story elements to introduce and to flesh out. So, the session starts off with them fighting the Lamra, and the Lamra Van Thamper, especially the state that 5e is in now with so much power. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's great how many options and how powerful the PCs can be, but I feel like the Lamra Van Thamper encounter as written is a bit underwhelming. She's a little too easily defeated. So in my games, I use the Warlock of the Fiend stat block and modify it a bit to represent the Lamra a bit better. For example, her Eldritch Blasts or Eldritch Punches. She punches people in the face, and it's essentially the same stats as Eldritch Blast. She uses her Charisma modifier as the bonus to attack and damage rolls, and she has 4 of them. So it's basically a huge multi-attack. So instead of using Eldritch Blast, her fist lights up with demonic energy, devilish energy, and she punches people. Super on brand, super thematic for that. So yeah, that is how we start off today, is with the fight with the Lamra. But that is the first thing that we do, and only one of several important notes to hit on. Primarily, we introduce the Shield of the Hidden Lord, and we get a chance for the party to really see just how deeply Thavius Krieg was involved in everything. And, spoiler alert, he was involved in a big way in the fall of Elturel. It is essentially his own actions that led the city to fall. And after all of this time, through all of these years that he's been the High Overseer of Elturel, he has known for, I think it's something like decades, that he's known that the city was doomed, and did nothing, and not only did nothing, but fled the city before it could happen, and left behind the people who depended on him and looked up to him to essentially get dragged into hell. So Thavius is in a bad way when the party finds him. He is his corruption is essentially complete. His soul is forfeit, and he is basically a shell of the man that Rhea knew. So Rhea, seeing this, there's a lot of different ways that this can go on. Rhea can either be the vengeful hand of the gods when it comes to Thavius, striking him down, or she could try to defend him and break down herself in realizing this icon, this hero of hers, is no more than a coward and a liar. So lots of really emotional things. I really like to gauge how the party's interacting with the situation, then have Rhea kind of be the counterbalance to that. So if the party comes forward with righteous rage, Rhea steps forward and tries to convince them to forgive him, and so on and so forth. But eventually, one way or another, Thavius will be struck down, either by Rhea's hand or by the party's, or if something happens. I've had a session where the party decided to allow Thavius to live so that he'd be questioned. Rhea attempted to strike him down. The party stopped Rhea. In that kind of case, I have Thavius unalive himself. The guilt and the fear that he feels for having to face the consequences of his actions driving him to do so. But when the party sees Thavius for the first time, it's going to be obvious that he is corrupted. His shadow that he casts behind him is no longer that of a human, it is that of a fiend. So it's a very fluid situation what happens with that, but basically we do need Thavius to die, and so that the party can see his soul literally be ripped from him and dragged into hell. Excellent thematic moment. And then the party gets the loot. The room that Thavius is in is full of loot, full of gold, treasure, items. Speaking of which, there's also an item back at the fight with the Lamra Heaven's Fall. It is from a supplement from the DM's Guild. Uh, but yeah, a really cool item that they can find if they investigate around Thalamra a lot, especially if they try to investigate the statue of Zariel with the glowing eyes that's in that room. But yeah, the Shield of the Hidden Lord comes into play here as well. And the shield is a major player in the rest of the campaign. It is a sentient magic item. And when the players first interact with the shield, it will present itself to them as a celestial trying to get out. Some checks, some insights, history, things like that could reveal the truth about it. And for those of you that are running this on Roll20, I highly recommend not showing the players the image of the Shield of the Hidden Lord until it is revealed that it is in fact a pit fiend, because the shield is literally just a scowling devil face on a shield. It is extremely obvious right away that that is not a celestial inside of that shield. But the shield talks to Thavius a lot. He's trying to convince Thavius to return to the Nine Hells with the shield. And that is the shield's main goal at the moment, is to return to the Nine Hells, because the pit fiend inside Gargoth believes that if it returns to Hell, it can free itself from its prison. It's wrong, and it will hilariously fail when it does get to Hell. But Gargoth will be introduced here nonetheless. He is a deceiver at heart. He will try to convince the party of his celestial origins, then when caught, will apologize and say that he had to do so to try and get the players to help. Then he'll explain his situation, that he wishes to return to Hell to take over leadership of the First Layer. Bell obviously does not want this as a major fiend trying to vie for power against Zariel, the current Archduke, and so that'll come in just a moment. But yeah, the shield is super important. I've run the shield a couple different ways. I've run it as a very arrogant, powerful being that knows it's powerful and sees itself above everybody else. I've also played him as a broken down creature. Broken down and basically insane from his time spent in the shield. And he's more erratic in his behavior. I played it both ways before. I think for this particular group, it will be more of the powerful ancient being that imparts its wisdom. And one of the cool things about this is that Gargoth will legitimately try to help the players get to certain things. It will try to help them get to Avernus. Once it realizes it can't get out of the shield in Avernus, it will help them find a way to confront Zariel and turn her away from her current path, because that benefits him. Because if Zariel's out of the way, then it's just him and Bell vying for power, not him, Bell, and Zariel. Various different things. The shield will try to help them legitimately in various ways. So much so, in fact, that some allies of the party will encourage them to take the shield with them as a guide and advisor. So that leads us to the next part of this adventure. We are getting closer by the day to finally getting to Hell, which is great, because that is where this adventure really comes into its own, and where we really get the highlights of this adventure is when they get to the Nine Hells. But before that, they have to leave the villa. When they do, Zodge will approach them with a small contingent of Flaming Fist soldiers. Hearing that they had gone into the upper city and what they were up to, he would go and try to mitigate things a little bit with them, asking for the proof that he was looking for. But as they're having this conversation, Captain Liara Porter, the woman who naturally would have succeeded Ulder Ravengard, who has been away in Chult this entire time, finally arrives. And she is the authority figure that the Flaming Fist has been needing to really put a lid on everything that's been happening and really get everything under control. So she arrives, immediately does the "you're not in charge here anymore" thing to Zodge, and rewards the party heavily, thanks them for their service, and tells them to get the fuck out of her city. So, but then the party can go through whatever unfinished business they have to do in the city before they leave, possibly visiting Little Callumshan, Worm's Crossing, basically just a shopping thing. They can get the things that they need before heading out to Candlekeep. They are, of course, heading to Candlekeep because the man that they rescued from one of the sewers confirmed for them that Silvirus Silvicus at Candlekeep could possibly decipher and open that puzzle box for them, the infernal puzzle box that they found in Thirstwell's room. So that is obviously super important. We're not going to go into too many details about what's in that puzzle box just yet, because we don't want to give away too much just But she can open that puzzle box, and when they get to see what's inside, it will finally reveal a whole lot for them. But before they can get to Candlekeep, on their way there, they are ambushed. Unbeknownst to the group, one of the people that they released from the cellar was in fact a member of an order called the Knights of the Shield. And they are knights. I like to have them be knights in service to Bel. The book doesn't go into too much detail into who these knights are. They are essentially protectors of the shield, but it doesn't say exactly what devil they work for besides possibly Gargoth himself. But I feel like that forms a bit of a conflict of interest, because wouldn't Gargoth want his people to rescue him? But we need Gargoth to go to hell. So I like to have Gargoth essentially be trying to get away from these Knights of the Shield. So he sees his abduction from them, internment with the Van Thampers, and now being picked up by the players is all working in this grand scheme towards his final plans. What he does not want is to be taken back by the Shield, by the Order of the Shield, or the Knights of the Shield. So, unbeknownst to the party, one of the people they rescued is a member of this Order of the Shield. And when she gets out, which she already has, she'll tell her people, like, hey, there's this group of adventurers that are below there. They're there to kill the Van Thampers, and the Van Thampers had the shield, so this party will likely have the shield. These people will ambush them, and this is a really great fight for when they do get ambushed. It is a Cambion and 3 veterans. That is a great fight. So they're ambushed on the road when that happens, and then they finally get to Candlekeep, and that is really what we expect to get through today. So, yeah. Oh, right, on the way there, Rhea will finally relay the tale of the Hell Riders, where she will lay out the entire ugly truth for the party, and they will get a chance to really dig their teeth into that history. But yeah, not a whole lot more that I expect to get through. Rhea and Gargoth. I'm still looking for a good character archetype to play as Gargoth. After today, I'll have to improvise it, which is one of the things I like to do with NPCs. If I really don't know who an NPC is on the spot or beforehand, I like to just let that NPC come to life as I'm running them. So Gargoth will likely get his character archetype today. Locations, we're still in the Van Thamper Villa. We could potentially reach Little Calimshan, which is essentially a small city just outside of Baldur's Gate. It's like a little self-enclosed community of people from Calimshan, a place far to the south. And then potentially Candlekeep today. Stat blocks are, of course, upgraded Thalamra, a Hezrau. A Hezrau is still roaming the halls of the dungeon. It is badly hurt after slaughtering like a dozen or more cultists, but it is still in there. And we have our Cambion and our Veteran. The items that are going to get rewarded are, there's lots of stuff in the villa, underneath the villa, all kinds of cool valuables, and then of course the Shield of the Hidden Lord. But yeah, it's going to be a great one. Really looking forward to it. We still have our initiative from last time. The party will get a whole round in before they get to Thalamra, but she's got a couple tricks up her sleeve. But yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed this, be sure to check out our Patreon. It is linked below. These videos are available through our Patreon for our patrons a full month before they become available here on YouTube. So check that out, linked below, for a whole lot more videos like this one. And if you enjoyed watching this, remember that we do have all these videos as a live play available on the YouTube as well. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and we will see you next time.